Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will turn the pages of Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra. Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes, published in two parts, 1605 and 1615, is widely regarded as one of the most influential and pioneering works in Western literature. It tells the story of a delusional man who, inspired by tales of chivalry, renames himself Don Quixote and embarks on a quest to revive knight-errantry in a world that has long moved on from such ideals. His adventures, along with his loyal yet pragmatic squire, Sancho Panza, blur the lines between reality and imagination, offering both a comedic and profound reflection on idealism, human folly, and the complexities of the human spirit. Plot summary. In a small village of La Mancha, a gentleman named Alonso Quixano lives a quiet life, his days spent reading tales of knights, chivalry, and heroic deeds. So consumed by these stories, he begins to lose his grip on reality. His obsession transforms into a resolute belief that he must revive the lost traditions of knighthood. He decides to rename himself Don Quixote and set out on an adventure as a knight-errant, determined to defend the helpless and bring justice to the world. Don Quixote scours his great-grandfather's ancient armor, piecing together a makeshift helmet from pasteboard. He renames his old, skinny horse Rocinante, a name he finds fitting for such a noble steed. But a knight, as he knows, is incomplete without a lady to serve. He chooses a local farm girl, Aldonza Lorenzo, as his inspiration, though she is unaware of his affections. To him, she becomes the beautiful and noble Dulcinea del Toboso, to whom all his brave deeds will be dedicated. Don Quixote leaves his home early one morning without informing anyone, determined to embark on his quest. His first challenge arises when he realizes he has not yet been officially dubbed a knight. As he travels, he arrives at a roadside inn, which his delusions lead him to see as a grand castle. Inside, the innkeeper, amused by Don Quixote's strange demeanor, agrees to perform a mock ceremony to officially make him a knight. Don Quixote spends the night watching over his armor in the inn's courtyard, taking this task with the utmost seriousness. When a misunderstanding leads to a confrontation with some of the inn's workers, he defends his honor with great vigor, though his combat skills are clumsy at best. Having been knighted, Don Quixote continues his journey in search of adventures. Along the way, he comes across a group of merchants and demands they declare Dulcinea the most beautiful lady in the world. When they refuse, confused by his outlandish demands, Don Quixote charges at them. Unfortunately, his horse stumbles, and the merchants beat him, leaving him battered and humiliated. A peasant from his village finds him and brings him back home, where his concerned friends, the village priest and the barber, realize the extent of his madness. They decide to burn his books of chivalry in hopes of curing him, blaming these tales for his delusions. Despite their efforts, Don Quixote soon sets out again, this time accompanied by a loyal squire, Sancho Panza, a simple farmer who agrees to follow him in exchange for promises of wealth and governorship of an island. Sancho is practical and often provides a humorous counterbalance to Don Quixote's idealism. As they travel together, Don Quixote's imagination continues to lead them into absurd situations. He famously mistakes windmills for giants and attempts to fight them, only to be flung from his horse when his lance strikes the sails. Still, undeterred by this and other mishaps, Don Quixote remains convinced of the righteousness of his mission. The two companions encounter a series of misadventures. They come across a group of friars traveling with a lady in a carriage, and Don Quixote, believing the lady to be a captive, attacks the friars. He then meets a barber and mistakes his shaving basin for the golden helmet of Mambrino, a legendary knight. Don Quixote seizes the basin, proudly wearing it as his own helmet, convinced of its magical properties. Throughout their journey, Don Quixote's delusions cause both trouble and amusement. He frees a group of galley slaves, believing them to be wrongfully imprisoned, only for them to turn on him and Sancho. He battles armies that exist only in his mind, and he continuously declares his love for Dulcinea, although he never sees her. Meanwhile, Sancho's loyalty is unwavering, though he often questions his master's grip on reality. Sancho himself begins to adopt some of Don Quixote's fanciful language, showing how deeply the knight's dreams of grandeur influence even those around him. Back in their village, Don Quixote's friends continue to worry. Samson Carrasco, a young scholar, devises a plan to bring Don Quixote home. Disguised as the Knight of the Mirrors, Carrasco challenges Don Quixote to a duel, intending to defeat him and force him to abandon his knightly quest. However, Don Quixote triumphs, believing this victory to be a sign that his cause is just. Undeterred, Carrasco tries again, this time posing as the Knight of the White Moon. In their next duel, Carrasco defeats Don Quixote. And as per the terms of their agreement, Don Quixote must return home and give up his quest for a year. Defeated and disillusioned, Don Quixote returns to his village. His spirit, once so full of adventure and dreams of chivalry, begins to fade. Sancho tries to cheer him up with promises of future adventures, but Don Quixote's health declines. He falls ill, and in his final days, he renounces his former life as a knight, realizing the folly of his delusions. He reclaims his identity as Alonso Quixano and dies peacefully, surrounded by those who love him. In the end, Don Quixote's quest to live as a knight in a world that no longer values such ideals is both a humorous and tragic reminder of the tension between dreams and reality. His unwavering belief in the virtues of chivalry, even in the face of countless defeats, highlights the power of human imagination, while also revealing the dangers of losing oneself in fantasy. His story, both comical and deeply moving, leaves behind a legacy of a man who dared to dream, even when the world around him refused to believe. That's a wrap, but the journey doesn't end. Explore more books by Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra. You'll find the details in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.